Hello everybody, welcome back to some more Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 1, Onikakushi, I think that's how you say it. It's good to see you all again. This is after I've gotten back from my Austin trip, so I think I'll talk about that more in Shadow Dragon, just because, I don't know, Shadow Dragon is more freeform, but we'll just get right into Higurashi. Okay.
レナってさ、俺と同い年だったよな。
そうだよ。も同じだよね。
Hey now, it would be weird if we were the same age, but not the same zodiac animal.
そんなことないよ。誕生日の違いがあれば、年齢が同じでも干支が違うこともあり得るって。
あれ？あ、そうか。ミオ、頭いいじゃないか。
ところで、ケイチ君は何月生まれなのかな？レナは7月なんだよ。
Reina smirked and puffed up with pride. Hey now, what's the meaning of this? She's not planning to be all high and mighty if her birthday is a wee bit sooner than mine, is she?
だが諦めろ。俺に誕生日で挑もうったって無駄。なんならどっちが年上か罰ゲーム付きで勝負してもいいぜ。
なんでだろう。
Reina panicked at suddenly being challenged to a wager. Given how panicked she is, I'm certain she doesn't have much allowance left this month. It's just setting her into a panic about something as simple as a birthday. So fun, I can't help myself.
ってことはケイちゃん、ひょっとして4月生まれ？
そういうこったな。残念だな、レナ。俺もうとっくにレナより年上なんだよ。
そうなんだ。じゃあみーちゃんと同い年なんだね。まあほんの何ヶ月かはね。すぐにまた差を開いてあげるけどさ。
Mion snickered through her nose. Hey, now, that's not something to get all high and mighty about. As if I'm one to talk.
そういえばミオンって上級生なんだよな。
下級生の方が燃えるってんなら今日から下級生ってことでもいいけど。みーちゃん、よくわかんないこと言ってる。
Just by seeing Reina's blush face, she could tell she knew exactly what she meant by it, though.
で、サトコとリカちゃんが下級生とどころか学校が違うくらいの下級生だよな。
ケイチ君はちょっと好みの年齢が低すぎると思うな。
You're not making any sense yourself, Reina. Keiichi being a little bit, sus. I'll just grab onto her head and scrub it up a bit. Definitely being sus.
やめて
前から思ってたんだけどさ、なんでこの学校ってクラスが学年混在なんだ？
教室の数が足りないからだよ。仕方ないじゃん。営林署の建物を間借りしてんだからさ。
When she says it like that, it makes sense. I've thought her school was strange for a while now. The schoolyard is gravel, and there are more rooms that aren't classes. There's some sort of strange construction machinery parked here.
なんで借りてるんだよ。本当の学校はどうしちゃったんだよ。
戦前からずーっと建ってたらしいからね。老朽化でね。廃校ってわけよ。
Probably was a grand old schoolhouse.
まあそれで生徒は町の学校に通うことになったんだけどさ。遠いでしょ？どこの学校だったの？沖宮の駅前通りを抜けて病院に曲がって小児科の向かいに学校あるのわかる？遠いよ。
I couldn't tell where that was by the location, but I understood it was pretty far from Reina's reaction.
まあそんなわけでさ。 沖宮の学校に通いたくない連中はこうして営林署の建物を間借りした仮校舎に通ってるってわけさ。
ひなみ沢の子供の半分くらいかな。朝早くに自転車で通ってる子たちも結構いるよ。
まあこんなはちゃめちゃな学校に通ってたら進学校とかはちょっと無理だろうからね。
そんなことないよみーちゃん。ちゃんと頑張ればどこでだってお勉強はできるよ。
お、そうだぞそうだぞ。レナとは意見が一致したな。
そうだねそうだね。頑張ろう。
せいぜい頑張ってくださいな。おじさんはささやかに応援しとりますわ。
俺たちがじゃないぞ、ミオンがだぞ。お前受験生だろ。こんな成績じゃお先真っ暗だぞ。
いいもんいいもん。路頭に迷ったら永久就職してケイちゃんに食わせてもらうから。
永久就職ってなんだろうなんだろう。
ほらそこうるさいですよ。自習は静かに。
The teacher yelled at all three of us. It was completely our fault. Satoko saw it and chortled haughtily. I stuck out my tongue at her response. It is just as Mion says. This school has nothing to do with higher education. But it makes up for that by having lots of valuable things other schools don't. Is that everything? Hold on. I'm going to make sure that the audio is sounding good, so I'll be right back. Okay. Sorry about that. We're in business. It's only June, but it's already so hot. I can hear the Higurashi chirping me at night, and there are mosquitoes. Might as well be summer already. My only salvation was that the mornings were still cool.
暑いでございますわね。
Satoko is flapping her skirt languidly? I don't know. That's pretty unladylike there. Even if she was a little brat, she was still a girl.
ケイチさんはワイシャツ一枚で涼しそうですわね。羨ましいですわ。
俺から見りゃスカートのサトコの方が涼しそうだよ。この時期のズボンがどれだけ暑いか女のお前にはわかるまい。
I can testify to that.
暑いって、
This girl has gone imagining something
レ
indecent.
ナの夏服は涼しそうな色合いがいいよな。見てるこっちも涼しくなる。
ありがとう。本当に涼しいんだよ。私もレナさんみたいな涼しい夏服が良かったですわね。でもさとこちゃんの夏服ワンピースですっごい可愛いし、レナはさとこちゃんの夏服着てみたいな。これ結構蒸しますわよ。絶対にレナさんの方が涼しいですわ。でも可愛い服の方がきっと楽しいよ。はう。
I had a feeling that Reina and Satoko's base values were fundamentally different. And Reina's definitely got plus strength. Satoko's I don't know, mind value would be pretty low if you know what I mean.
そういえばこの学校って指定の制服とかないんだよな。
ないよ。ふさわしい服であれば私服でも大丈夫なんだよ。
There are quite a few students in regular clothes. There were a few wearing uniforms, but they were all the same design and rather plain.
他の連中が着てる制服は何なんだよ。みんなお揃いだよな。
あれは町の学校の制服なんですのよ。別に決まってるわけじゃないですけど、みんな着てますわね。
そこへ行くと俺らの仲間はみんないろいろな制服を着てるよな。わざわざどこかから取り寄せたのか？
ええ、ミオンさんが調達してくださいますの。 みーちゃんの親類で古着商をやってる人がいて、全国の学校の服を格安で仕入れてるんだって。
で、その親類に頼んでいろいろ個性的な制服を取り寄せてもらってるわけか。
That Mion, she probably loves using her friends as dress-up dolls. That must be a strange second-hand clothing store. I get that it's just... What? Wait, what? Strange second-hand clothing store. I get that it's a second-hand clothing store, but stocking clothes from school all over the country? That's pretty strange for a second-hand clothing store. Sorry, it's basically the same line. Not that it really matters. It just really trips me up. What's the point in stocking up clothes from faraway schools they know nothing about?
それはレナも思うよ。他にも体操服とかスクール水着のフルとかも扱ってるの。そういうののフルはちょっと嫌だよね。
あんまり儲かってなさそうな商売だな。きっと少しでも儲けさせるためにミオンが一肌脱いでやってるんだろうな。
でもいつもミオンさんが自信満々に言いますのよ。今にきっと大ブレイクしてすごい商売になるって。
A secondhand clothing store stock school uniforms is gonna be a big hit? I don't get it. Neither do I, Keiichi. Neither do I. Okay, now we can actually begin the episode. So I guess... Let me just make sure. Yes. Because I don't know how this game goes, so it might do like a... Oh, if you didn't view the tips, you get the bad ending. Because I know that there are like multiple endings. So just to make sure, I'll do my saving. Okay, now let's actually like continue. I took it a little too easy on the morning of my day off. I was totally late. And to top it off, that pesky mom of mine pushing a return journey errand on me just as I'm trying to leave the house. Yo, I hate that. Today was the day Reina and Mion were going to show me around Hinamizawa. Reina and Mion were already waiting at the meeting place.
ちゃん遅いぞ。
悪い悪い。攻めるのは夕べの面白かった特番に行ってくれ。
ほう、女の子との待ち合わせに遅刻して言い訳がそれってわけ？
みーちゃんだって今来たばかりなんだよ。
夕べの密着24時間面白かったし、ねえ。
She was just as guilty as me. Reina was carrying a pretty heavy-looking handbag. What is that? Mion answered my unspoken question with a wink. That's right. Reina really did make a picnic.
ケイちゃん、あの後レナ大張り切りだったらしいよ。
別に俺がけしかけたわけじゃないだろう。
そんな大変じゃなかったから気にしないでよ。ね。
夕べから今朝まであのテンションらしいよ。責任取れんの？
わかった。俺も男だ。責任は取る。
責任ってなんだろう。
As we both turned around slowly to look at Reina, our gazes drifted downwards to the massive handbag she was carrying. It didn't seem logically feasible that it would be entirely filled with lunchboxes. Except this was Reina we were talking about here.
2キロくらいかな。
レナね、荷物持つときよっこらしょって言ってた。5キロ。
それはオーバー。ケイチくん男の子だからきっといっぱい食べるだろうと思ってたくさんね。もう行こう。よっこらよっこ。
Just from the way she was lifting it up, I could only I couldn't believe. Oh, oops! I did it again. I couldn't believe the only things in there were lunchboxes.
訂正俺も5キロ
手伝いはするけど全部食べるんだからね。レナを悲しませたら許さないよ。
The only thing I could do at that moment was exercise a bit to keep myself hungrier. Whoa, my god. Having finished with the pleasantries, we began our leisurely stroll. A carefree walk, bathed in the gentle morning sunlight. I couldn't have even imagined something so wholesome existed during my time in the city. These were the boonies, after all. No slovenly desk jockeys trudging to work on the weekends out here. It really was a nice place, peaceful and quiet. As sparsely populated as the village was, you could still run into people just by walking around.
あ、こんにちは。こんにちは。
Whoa. Yo, very seductive villager.
あら、そちらは確か前原くんだったかしら。
My two companions exchanged greetings with everybody we ran across. All of these passerbys even knew my name.
なんで俺ってこんなに有名人なんだ
We passed 3 people, and when all 3 of them knew me, I started to feel a bit paranoid.
悲しいかな。南沢は人が少ないからね。みんな顔見知りなんだよね。
つまりなんだ知らない顔が歩いてればそれは自動的に新しく引っ越してきた前原さんってことになるわけか。
うん、そういうことになるね。
It was a process of elimination you could only pull off in a place like this, but it was quite effective. From now on, I'd better make sure to maintain a good reputation. The day I'm discovered accidentally gawking in the dirty magazine in the bookstore, I can expect all the villagers labeling me as a lich by the next day. Hinamizawa is not to be trifled with. How little you know. How little you know. That's not the end of this nightmare. Certainly isn't.
もちろんわかるよ。最初に会ったのが牧野林店の竹蔵おじさん。趣味は盆栽と尺八なんだよ。
次が乾物屋の次男の大輔君。趣味は狙撃で将来の夢は超永久スナイパーだとか。それで今の人は入江診療所の看護師の美代さん。趣味は野鳥の観察と撮影だって。
すれ違った全員の名前までわかるのかよ。プロフィールまで。
Seeing my surprise, Mion and Reina exchanged looks and burst into laughter.
はあね。ここいらは都会みたいにご近所付き合いが希薄じゃないからね。
試しに聞いてみよう。今ここにいる俺は誰だ
前原圭一くん。意地悪なこと言うけど本当は優しいテレ屋さん。
転校してきてようやく3週間。趣味は昼寝。最近トランクス派に転向したよね。
もういいもういい
Yo, what the fuck?
トランクス。
それもいい
Apparently there's absolutely nothing you can keep hidden here. Hinamizawa was not the place to be trifled with. Did you say that same thing earlier? Exposed. Repeat dialogue. 0 out of 10.
これじゃあさ俺のための案内ってより俺のお披露目みたいだな。
そうだね。うちらさ、これだけ賑やかに練り歩いてたからね。みんな思うんじゃない？ケイちゃんもひなみ沢に馴染んでくれたんだって。
ひなみ沢は過疎だから。村中みんなが新しい仲間を歓迎してくれてるの。
Thought about brushing it off with something to the effect of, "You're kidding me," but I held it back. By the way, Keiichi, I don't know about you, but I would like two pretty attractive girls to show me around. I don't know why you're complaining. Also, I I know that you can like make it to where the text is like over the entire screen, like the original PC release, but I find that very distracting. I feel like the sprites should be the focus, not necessarily the dialogue, so that's why I have it this way. Had I ever greeted someone who just moved into the city like this before? Thinking about that made me believe what they said wasn't a joke after all. We passed around another person. Of course, we were called out to again the same way.
あら、こんにちは。仲良しそうでいいわね。
藤島さんちのおばさんだよ。こんにちは。
あら、前原くん、両手に花でいいわね。どう？生活はもう慣れた？
Instead of regurgitating a prepared response like I would have in the city, I responded with an empathetic nod. The old woman chuckled, voicing her appreciation of how energetic I was.
Good.
As I looked back over to Reina and Mion, they gave me a wink.
でね、そろそろお昼にしないかな。
Reina's brilliant smile signaled the approach of an event that both Mion and I were trying to predict. We both looked at each other.
俺も男だ。努力はする。だが量が多すぎる。
よし、ケイちゃん。ここはおじさんに任せなさい。
Mion has never seemed as reliable as she does right now. I'd expect no less from the class representative.
レナ、どうせ食べるならさ、見晴らしのいいところで食べない？
それいい。賛成。
Reina nodded her head happily in response to Mion's proposal. Whoa. There we go. Cresting the top of a stone stairway, a shrine drawn straight out of my imagination appeared before us. It had worn down a bit through the years, but the fallen leaves had been swept up, giving it a tidy feeling.
ここはね、古出神社っていうの。多分見晴らしが一番いいところかな。
ここの場所、よく覚えといてね。もうすぐここでお祭りがあるんだから。
へえ、祭りにしちゃちょっと早いシーズンだよな。
綿流しは夏祭りじゃなくてね。昔は冬の終わりを喜ぶお祭りだったらしいよ。
I was embarrassed for assuming that festivals had to be held in the summer.
弁当を広げてっと。
Various colored lunchboxes were placed one after the other on top of the plastic sheet. It sure did smell delicious. I gotta say, it's very fitting that I had lunch myself before playing this. It was Reina's home cooking. It went without saying that it would be delicious. But is it even possible to finish all of this? Hey, Mion, it'll take more than just a good view to get this all down, you know.
こんにちはです。
It was Rika-chan and Satoko. Why are they here? Mion grinned over at me, not grimaced. I see, this was her secret plan. The power in numbers. You have my thanks, Mion. Following up when all the pieces are in place is my specialty, along with Sith lords.
騒がしいから来てみれば、これは何ですの？
見りゃわかるだろ。これからランチタイムだ。ビュッフェスタイルだ。レナの手作り弁当に舌鼓だ。
そんなの見ればわかるでございますわ。どうして人様の庭でご座なんか広げてますの？
神社は公共の場所だぞ。勝手に独占するな。
圭一の言う通りですよ。みんなのお庭にしますです。
くー、やっぱりリカちゃんはいい子だな。座りな、そこ。一緒に食べよう。
After opening up a spot for Rika-chan, I promptly turned my back on Satoko.
ちょっとお待ちなさいな。私はどこに座ればいいんですの？
お前に座る場所はないし。
Hey, get fucked. Don't actually.
大丈夫だよ。さとこちゃんの分もちゃんとあるから。
Not yet. That'd be, yeah.
ない。さとこの分も俺がいただく。お前に座る場所はないし。
Not gonna get old.
そんなことは許せませんの。リカ。はい、お箸です。
Both Satoko and I leapt at the boxes, having it out with each other.
いやはや、ケイちゃん乗せるのうまいわ、ほんと。才能あるのかもしれない。
はい、お皿。みーちゃんも、リカちゃんも。
Rana whipped out pairs of chopsticks and paper plates.
僕たちも頑張らないとなくなってしまうです。
そうだね。よし、参戦と行くかな。
いっぱい食べてね。ちゃんとみんなの分あるから。
Rana said as she opened up a thermos. Just then I realized that this lunch was made under the assumption that 5 people would be eating. It didn't change how much there was, but the implication behind it was different. Oh my...
そのハンバーグは
Oh my... Destroyed.
いや、肘は反則だろう、さとこ。
襟首をつかむのも反則でございます。
It was a tough battle. Blocking with her full momentum and an elbow of the opening moves, Satoko appeared to have the upper hand, but the difference in our proficiency with chopsticks proved to be fatal, giving me the upper hand.
最後のミートボール。
校長さとこ、破れたり。
最後のミートボール。
Satoko and I amiably began choking at the same time, falling backwards in spasm. What the? Yo, Rika-chan patted me on the head to clear it, even though it was actually stuck in my throat. Seeing that made Reina blush and breathe heavily in excitement. It was almost like flowers floating all around her. Mion advised Reina to refrain from saying anything that could get her locked up. This is how our meals usually go. I'd do anything in my power just so things could stay like this. Yeah, keep dreaming. The intense battle calmed, and finally everyone reached the point where they could begin talking. Receiving tea from the thermos, I let out a small sign.
日本語ってやつはさ、どうしてこう味に対する賛辞が少ないんだろうな。
食事中の団らんって考えがそもそも近代に入ってからだからじゃない？
昔の人は無言で食事を済ませたそうだし、作る人もちょっぴり寂しかったろうね。きっと昔の人は食べるのに忙しくて味を褒める暇もなかったのですわ。
That's just you.
でもね、美味しいの一言だけでも嬉しいよ。苦労の甲斐があったかなって。
She blushed a little as she said that.
美味しいです。
Excuse me. Sorry. With absolutely perfect timing, Rika-chan struck Reina directly with praise. She looked straight at her with an expression of bewitching innocence.
Huh?
After Reina uttered an unintelligible noise, a ring of smoke rose from her head with an audible poof.
リカちゃん、お持ち帰りじゃなくて、ありがとう。本当に美味しかったですよ。
Reina flushed red with excitement, embracing Rika-chan and rubbing her cheek against her so hard you could almost hear it.
リカちゃんには褒めてもらったお礼に、じゃーん、これをサービスね。
2 apple rabbits. After sticking toothpicks into them, she thrust them towards Rika-chan. After Rika-chan accepted them, the mood suddenly shifted in a bizarre way.
なんだよ、サトコ。その挑戦的な目は。
皆さんにはレナさんのリンゴを獲得できるだけの賛辞が用意できまして。
強気じゃんよ。ボキャ品のあんたにどんな賛辞が思いつくっての？
では、ご覧あそばせ。
After Satoko flashed Mion and me a defiant look, she changed the tone of her voice suddenly.
エレナお姉ちゃんのお弁当、サトコも美味しかったよ。
Satoko looked up at her proudly while talking cutesy. Wow. Wow. How is that praise? That's not even persuasion by tears. That's persuasion by cuteness, isn't it? This is Reina Limited's special skill. She blushed and her head spun, waving around in circles. Don't fall for it, Reina! Of course, I was asking for the impossible. Reina glommed Satoko and began rubbing her cheek against it.
かいかい。サトコちゃんもかいよ。お持ち帰り。
Swish, stab, push. Satoko was also presented with apple rabbits. After stuffing them into her mouth, she looked over at Mion and me again with that defiant gaze. It took only 5 seconds to take down Reina. That's unfair! They think she had such a trick!
悔しければ、レナさんにご褒美がもらえるような賛辞をお考え遊ばせ。
Damn it! That was a dirty trick. First of all, that wasn't even a praise.
サトコ、それで勝てたつもりとはね。あんたらの底の浅い技とはわけが違うものを見せてあげようじゃない。
それは頼もしいぜ、ミオ。それはどんな技なんだ？
やるのはケイちゃん。
はあ？
見せてもらおうではございませんか。豊島のあがきを。
The plan of attack she suggested was wicked. It was the only thing we had to beat Satoko. After sipping my tea, I started talking very naturally and calmly. Perfectly.
本当に美味しいよな。これってさ、全部手作りなのかい？
実はね、これほとんど冷凍物なの。
じゃあ、レナの手作りのってどれだい？
恥ずかしいな。教えなきゃダメ？どうしても？
From the synergy of boy plus handmade lunchbox, her expression had melted into euphoria.
わかるよ。これでしょ。
Reina turned an even deeper shade of red, the words, "I can't believe it," practically written on her face.
なんでわかるかな？レナの手作り。
Of course, Mion had told me beforehand. It's been perfect so far. After acting like I was shy, I wanted a way to the beat. Next would be the finisher.
レナの匂いがしたから。
Silence enveloped the area. Reina, face still completely red, froze solid with a small yelp. Satoko also blushed. Of course I did too.
レナの手作りのリンゴのウサギさんが食べたいんだ。なんて。
Even if this was all because I was competing against Satoko, it felt like I had crossed the line by a good 9 yards, I think. And at that moment, duh! It was a Tupperware container filled with rabbits.
食べてね、ケイチ君。いっぱいあるんだよね。
Duh! Instantly, dozens of the apples were shoved into my mouth, knocking me over. My head was forcibly laid upon her lap with even more apples were shoved into my mouth while she was squealing. One more apple after another was forced into my mouth. More apples.
ケイちゃん、殉職見事なり。どうよ、さとこ。うちらの完全勝利だね。
こんな手信じられないですの。悔しくないもん。
Satoko ground her teeth, mortified. We did it! I claimed victory as my consciousness drifted slowly away from me. At that time, Reina stopped her squealing as she suddenly realized something.
リカちゃん、食べないの？塩水強すぎたかな？かな？
Looking over, Rika-chan had pulled the toothpick out of the apple wrap, placed it into her cupped hands, and seemed to be at a loss for what to do.
うさぎさんがかわいそうです。助けてあげてほしいです。
Whoa! That was the sound of blood spurting from Reina's nose.
かいよ。今夜こそ絶対本持ち帰り。
She shook sporadically, her head wobbling back and forth. Then, coming back to her senses, she took all the apples around me, gathered them up with a flip, fixed them back up on a plate.
これでみんな寂しくないよね。これリカちゃんにあげる。ね。
Rika-chan raised up Satoko's hand like a referee after having that plate of rabbits shoved to her. She whispered.
僕たちが勝ちましたです。
Hey, fair enough. Thus, my sacrifice ended up being in vain. Tragic. It was a fun-filled, crazy day. But as soon as the sun began to set, the end of the day did come quickly.
じゃあね、レナにケイちゃん。また明日ね。
ミオ、今日はありがとな。楽しかったぜ。
また明日ね。
Satoko and Rika-chan went home as well. We parted ways with Mion, and we ended up with just Reina and myself enjoying the evening air on our way home.
ケイチくんも今日は付き合ってくれてありがとう。
Excuse me.
楽しかった？
ああ、楽しかった。まだ家に帰るのが惜しいくらいだぜ。
あ、じゃあさ、ちょっとだけ寄り道してもいいかな？
寄り道？遠いのか？
ちょっと歩くけどすぐ済むから。
Since we had began walking around all day, I must have seemed a bit tired. Not feeling like teasing Reina, I quietly nodded. Traversing a small path and up a small hill, the land suddenly stretched out before us. There, what looked like the remains of a dilapidated construction site came into view. A large heap of garbage spread out off towards the swamp. Probably illegal dumping. I recalled it being in the newspaper.
今日は久しぶりだから何かあるかな？
久しぶりって、レナのようはあのゴミの山かよ。
ゴミじゃないよ。レナにとっては宝の山だもん。
Rin had already entered that well-known cute mode of hers. So that meant there was something cute here?
わあ、新しい山だ。ワクワク、ワクワク。
She descended the unstable slope with ease. I'd expect no less from a born and bred country.
おい待てよ、今行くから。あったたたた。
My city-raised self was completely pitiful.
いいよ、ケイチ君はそこにいて。すぐ済むから。
Reina kindly declined my accompaniment.
転ぶなよ。足元に気をつけろよ。
大丈夫だよ、大丈夫。全然平気。
Literally bounding among the heaps of trash, Reina disappeared from sight. I didn't like being left behind, but I was still pretty tired from the whole day, so I just ended up waiting. Without the lively Reina around, the surrounding area quickly fell into silence. The cry of the Higurashi gently cooled the air. Fairly exhausted, I began to feel a little sleepy. Just then, the sudden noise of scattering pebbles alerted me to somebody's presence. Startled, I turned around. Oh hey! Standing there was a typical-looking photographer. He spied over at me through his camera. His body was tanned and fit, but something about him seemed unreliable, and he had a bit of an aloof air about him. Well, it didn't seem like he was a bad guy in any case.
おっと、あ、びっくりした。
Although startled when I turned around, he overplayed his reaction. That was my line.
驚いたのはこっちですよ。
ごめんごめん。驚かすつもりはなかったんだ。君はHinamizawaの人かい？
I gathered that he wasn't from that question. Unfazed by my suspicious gaze, he introduced himself without my prompting.
僕は富武。フリーのカメラマンさ。Hinamizawaにはたまに来るんだ。
I didn't ask who you were.
写真ってのは被写体に断ってから撮るのが礼儀なんじゃないんすかね。
ごめんごめん。メインは野鳥の撮影でね。断った試しがないんだよ。
So, what you're saying I'm the same as the birds.
いやいや、夕闇に黄昏れる少年があまりにも絵になっていたんでね。本人の許可を取らずにファインダーを覗いたことを謝るよ。
Those are pretty slick. All that annoyance I felt for being startled just flew away as he buttered me up. I had no intention of hanging around with this guy trying to get cozy with me, except it didn't seem like Reina would be back soon. This older guy, Tomitake-san, he didn't mind my cautious responses and continued rambling on by himself.
ケイチ君、待たせてごめんね。もう終わりにするから。
Reina popped her head out from one of the lower piles of garbage and I waved her hand.
連れがいたのかい？お、彼女はあんなところで何をしているんだい？
That's what I wanted to know.
さあね、昔起こった殺人事件の死体でも探してるんじゃないですか。
Tomitake-san looked shaken up by that for a moment. Oh, I responded like I were talking with Reina and the others.
嫌な事件だったね。まだ見つかってないんだろ？
You look way too happy saying this.
ケイチ君お待たせ。
Spooky.
待ったかな？
馬に蹴られる前に退散するかな。驚かせてすまなかったね、ケイイチ君。
Tomitake-san chortled suggestively, then disappeared into the twilight. Missing my chance to retort put me off a bit.
ケイチ君怒ってる？どうしてだろう？
It wasn't Reina's fault, so I just decided to brush it off for now.
どうだった？掘り出し物は見つかったか？
聞いて聞いて。あのね、あったの。ランディ君人形。
ランディ君人形ってあれか？ ファーストフードの店の前に必ず置いてあるあの等身大人形の？
そう、ランディ君。かわいい。お持ち帰りしたい。
I couldn't tell how she decides what's cute or not, but well, she seems to want.
あれはゴミだろ。お持ち帰りしたきゃしてもいいんだぜ。
他の山の下敷きになってるの。簡単には掘り出せないし、あそこ明かりがないからすぐ暗くなっちゃうし。
Raina seemed quite down about finding a treasure and not being able to bring it back.
俺も手伝ってやるよ。今日のうまかった弁当の恩返しってことでさ。
Uh-oh.
ありがとう。
Birds heading home to roost proclaimed that nightfall would soon be upon
ケイ
us.
チ君が手伝ってくれる。ランディ君をお持ち帰りできる。
Raina staggered along as if intoxicated in a dreamy state of mind. I tried asking her in a way that wouldn't take her out of her cheery state.
なあレナ、あそこで昔なんかあったのか？
ダムの工事をやってたんだってね。詳しく知らないけど。
例えばさ、工事中になんかあったとか、事故とか。
知らない。
Her tone was disturbingly frank. It sounded more like a denial than an answer. I must have appeared rather dumbstruck. Raina quickly lightened her expression.
実はね、去年までよそに住んでたの。
It's
知らない。知らない。知らない。知らない。
Man, the tone is going to be utterly destroyed by the time I'm done.
レナも転校生だったのか？
Ugh.
俺はてっきり。
だからね、それ以前のことはよく知らないの。ごめんね。
Don't really know, don't want to talk about it. That was kind of the feeling she gave me. Thinking about it, of course, it would be like that. This wasn't the type of thing girls would enjoy talking about. Yeah, I can't exactly blame her for not wanting to talk about a potential dismembered corpse. Ain't exactly the ladies' man right now, Keiichi. It was quite a disturbing incident. They still haven't found one of the arms. If it's just like Tamaki-san said, then I had a feeling only the Higurashi would know. Dun dun dun. Higurashi when they cry. The plot thickens, indeed. Barman. Okay, interesting. So, that was pretty fun. It was, I feel like that was a bit shorter than last time, but that's okay. I think I'll save here. Might as well, right? Just to keep things kind of chill. Let's view the new tips we got. Interesting. Well, I may or may not record another part today. I'm still kind of thinking about it, but I'm definitely going to take a bit of a break. So I had a I had a lot of fun doing this. It's good to be back for sure. Look forward to more parts of both this and Shadow Dragon. And probably also randomized Thracia, because I need to finish that up. Alright, so my name's CranJam. I will see you on the next video.